2020 జేఈఈ మెయిన్ ఫలితాలలో ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ విద్యార్థుల ప్రభంజనం. ఆల్ ఇండియా అన్ని కేటగిరీస్లు 18, 35, 251, 253, 582, 606, 778, 780, 812, 821, 1031, 1049, 1303, 1575, 1654, 1753, 1754, 1978 ర్యాంకులే కాక మరెన్నో ఉత్తమ ఫలితాలు సాధించిన విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్. ఈ ఫలితాలు సాధించడానికి కారణమైన లెక్చరర్లు మరియు తల్లిదండ్రులకు మా కృతజ్ఞతలు. ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్.
Now, so the economic importance of bacteria we are discussing here in terms of industry. So here we are discussing economic importance of bacteria. Economic importance of bacteria in industry. Now, if you take in industries, let us talk about different processes like curding. Let us take curding. So you all know it very well. For example, if you take bacteria, lactobacillus and streptobacillus. So lactobacillus and streptobacillus, and they release the protein called with the help of casein. What is this casein? Casein is nothing but it's a milk protein. In the milk you find a protein called as what? Casein. So they causes coagulation of the casein. As a result, the milk is getting converted into curd. Okay, so what this bacteria will do? Curding means, we all know, is a very common example at our home. You know, we boil the milk and we add some small part of curd. Curd contains, there are some hundreds and lakh number of different types of bacteria. Among all bacteria, the bacteria which plays a major role are lactobacillus and streptobacillus. When you take lactobacillus and streptobacillus, these generally what do they do and how do they convert milk to curd? If you look at, milk contain a milk protein called casein. So all of you know that milk contain a milk protein called casein. Casein is mainly responsible for conversion of milk to curd. How? This particular bacillus, they causes coagulation of casein. They causes coagulation of casein. Streptobacillus and lactobacillus, they causes coagulation of the casein, meaning casein makes it the milk to break it into, coagulation means it can break it into small parts and all smaller particles will gather. That is what is called coagulation together, and now it appears like a curd, right? It forms a curd. So what it happens is, remember the two bacteria, lactobacillus and streptobacillus. Remember, milk contains the protein called casein. In second year in digestive system in zoology, you will study digestive enzymes, pepsin, trypsin, casein, lysine and all that. So milk contains the milk protein called casein. Now this bacteria causes coagulation of the casein, so that the casein milk protein, it makes the milk to break into small fragments, and all small fragments, they get joined together, coagulated together and forms what is called curd. It's called curdling. Right? In industry nowadays we get curd packets from shops, right? So in industry, curding is also one of the process what they are operating with the help of bacteria. Now, apart from this, let us talk about curing. Now, what is meant by curing here? If you look at, the curing is nothing but, here, this if you look at, this is nothing but the process of fermentation. The fermentation of, you can take leaves of tea and tobacco the process of fermentation of leaves of tea and tobacco to improve color and taste, flavor, color as well as you can take taste. Yes. Okay. So here if you look at, there is what is meant by curing. Curing is nothing but the fermentation of leaves and tobacco. So if you look at the fermentation of leaves of tobacco and tea, generally we collect the tea leaves and we collect the tobacco leaves and we treat with the help of bacteria. Fermentation of leaves of tea and tobacco to improve the color and taste with the help of bacteria or in the presence of bacteria, with the help of bacteria. So we are making the fermentation. Fermentation is nothing but anaerobic respiration with the help of bacteria, or maybe it can be done with the help of yeast. Now with the help of fermentation here, with the help of bacteria, the leaves of the tea and tobacco are treated. With the treatment, there is improvement in the color and taste of tobacco as well as tea leaves. The process is said to be called as curing. Now which bacteria is useful? Now let us take example. Bacillus megatherium. The bacteria is nothing but what? Bacillus megatherium. So, Bacillus megatherium is used in the process called curing. Curing is nothing but fermentation of leaves of tobacco and tea to improve the color and taste with the help of by treating with bacteria. It's called as what? Curing. Next, another process is called as retting. There is another process is called as retting. So, if you take the retting here, retting is nothing but the process of isolation of fibers from plant parts. You can take example Clostridium. So here what is meant by retting? Retting is nothing but what? The process of isolation of fibers. We are extracting the fibers. We are extracting these fibers from different plant parts by the help of or with the help of bacteria or by bacteria. The process is said to be retting. So which bacteria is involved means it is nothing but what? Clostridium. We are extracting the fibers from different plant parts like jute, fibers and thread from cotton, right? And even jute, flax, hemp. So we extract the threads, fibers, the proteinaceous fibers or maybe the lipoproteinaceous fibers which we extract from different plant parts with the help of bacteria. That is called retting. Which bacteria is used means you can remember the example is nothing but Clostridium. Guys, one time retting process was asked in the final NEET. So in one of the NEET paper, we have a question on retting. So the question is, which bacteria is used for retting? Which bacteria is used for retting means the option what you have to choose is nothing but Clostridium. It is one time the question is being asked in the previous NEET paper. Now let us see in industries. If you look at, we are discussing now the economic importance of bacteria in industries. The first one is curding. Curding is also done at industries in large scale. Now which bacteria are used means Lactobacillus, Streptobacillus. Now here milk contains the protein called casein. Now this bacteria causes coagulation of casein. Milk is get broken down and for the gathering of all that milk particles together appears as curd. That is called curding. Next is curing. What is curing? The fermentation of leaves of tobacco and tea to improve the color and taste with the help of bacteria. Bacteria is used for improve the color and taste of tea leaves and tobacco leaves in the process of fermentation. It's called curing. This is called as what? Curing. So you can take example Bacillus megatherium. Next is retting. The process of isolation of fibers from different plant parts. So with the help of bacteria, it's called as retting. Extraction of jute, fibers, flax, hemp. So that all processes with the help of bacteria. When you extract from plant, it's called retting. Which bacteria is used in the retting means it's nothing but what? Clostridium. Now let us continue further. So here, even it is used in genetic engineering. It is used in the process called genetic engineering. This is what we are going to study in our second year. Now, there is some vector is needed, some carrier is needed to transfer the gene from one bacteria to other bacteria, from one organism to other organism. For example, if you take last class, we discussed transformation, transduction and conjugation. Did you remember? Suppose here, we understood that from one bacteria to other bacteria, plasmid will keep moving and it will come out and it can enter into other bacteria. So plasmids are easily movable. There are many in number in each bacteria. Bacteria can contain many number of plasmids, and these plasmids they keep moving from one bacteria to other bacteria. When they are keep moving from one bacteria to other bacteria, now these plasmids are also involved in carrying the DNA from one bacteria to other bacteria, from one organism to other organism. So these plasmids are used as vectors. Plasmids generally they are used as vectors, or they are also called as carriers. Plasmids generally they are used as vectors, or they are also called as what? Carriers. So I'll tell again, the plasmid has wonderful ability. It keeps moving from the cytoplasm of one bacteria, it comes out and also jumping into another bacteria. One bacteria there are so many number of copies of plasmids. So when the plasmid is moving from one bacteria to other bacteria, as it has wonderful ability, now this plasmid is added with DNA. Now this plasmid is transforming the fragment of DNA, or you can write DNA fragment, is transferred from one bacteria to other bacteria with the help of plasmids. So plasmids are used as vectors or carriers of DNA fragment from one organism to other organism. That's called genetic engineering. So now let us take most commonly used vector. Most commonly used vector in genetic engineering. In genetic engineering, I am writing here, that's nothing but Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Very, very important. Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Very, very, very important. Okay. So, whenever you get this, you have a chance of getting in the form of a question. Whenever you get the question that most commonly used vector in genetic engineering. In genetic engineering, which is used as most commonly used vector? So, from which bacteria it is isolated? That is Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Very, very important. Most commonly used vector in genetic engineering is Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Hello students, now let us continue with the bacteria. We were in biological classification. In bacteria, we have discussed about three types of sexual reproduction: transformation, transduction and conjugation, right? So if you look at conjugation and three types of bacteria, now almost we discussed about types of reproduction, asexual reproduction, vegetative reproduction and sexual reproduction. In that conjugation, transformation, transduction, these three we have discussed, right? Now let us discuss about bacteria. Now if you take in bacteria, these bacteria are called friends and host to man. The bacteria is referred as the friends and host to man. What's the meaning of this? That means the bacteria what we have discussed under eubacteria. Now the bacteria in some way, some of the bacteria are useful to humans and some of the bacteria they are harmful to human beings. Some bacteria are useful to human beings, some bacteria are harmful to human beings. That means bacteria is referred as both friends and foes to man. Friends means most of the bacteria are very much useful in the preparation of food industries, cheese, milk products, right, and butter, and along with that alcohol preparation, medicines, antibiotics, and creation of desirable genes in genetic engineering. In so many aspects, such as small, tiny, microscopic, invisible organism called bacteria, very much useful to human beings. At the same time, some types of bacteria are pathogens. What is meant by pathogens? Disease-causing organisms are called pathogens. Some bacteria are highly useful and some bacteria are harmful. Now let us talk about, because we discussed about bacteria and eubacteria we have discussed. We studied about classification of bacteria based on nutrition, based on shape and structure. We discussed classification of bacteria, gram staining, gram negative, gram positive, gram negative. Like that we have discussed, and we discussed them as decomposers, saprophytes. And apart from this, even we studied about shapes and structures. After that, we studied about bacteria reproduction, asexual and sexual. And lastly, we have come down to what is the economic importance of bacteria. At the same time, how bacteria is considered as harmful. So let us first concentrate on useful activities of bacteria. That means let us continue discussion with economic importance of bacteria. Economic importance. Let us study about economic importance. So in economic importance, when you take, let us take in agriculture. Now if you look at in terms of agriculture. In agriculture, some of the bacteria are involved in conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. That means they help in the process called nitrogen fixation. So some bacteria, they are very much useful and they convert bacteria, some of the bacteria, not all bacteria, converts atmospheric nitrogen into either in the form of ammonia or in the form of nitrite or in the form of nitrate. Because plant cannot make use of atmospheric nitrogen directly. So if you look at in agriculture, so if you want to get the more yield, how more will come? So if it is supplemented with the nutrients. But plant cannot take atmospheric nitrogen directly. Plant does not have ability to take nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. So someone should convert atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, nitrite or nitrate into available form in the surrounding soil. If these things are available in the surrounding soil, then plant can easily take off these nutrients and it has the possibility of giving more yield or high yield. Okay, so nitrogen is the most essential macro element. Macro element means the plant requires them in large quantity. Nitrogen is the essential element, most required element for plant growth and metabolism to get higher yield. So, a plant cannot take atmospheric nitrogen because atmosphere has huge amount of nitrogen, 75 to 76% of nitrogen. But what is the use? Plant cannot take atmospheric nitrogen directly. So who will help in this mechanism? See how wonderful is our nature. So God knows that there is a need for someone to involve in the conversion. So there are some invisible microorganisms. They are called bacteria. Some of the bacteria, they have wonderful ability which converts atmospheric nitrogen into usable form like ammonia, or maybe they convert into nitrile, or maybe converts into nitrate. If this condensation happens with the bacteria, they all will be available in the soil. Then plant definitely it will give more yield. Okay, so some bacteria involved in nitrogen fixation. Which bacteria involved in nitrogen fixation? Let us take some examples. Rhizobium. We discussed this in root modifications, right? In morphology we discussed nodular roots, characteristic of Fabaceae members. Root nodules contain symbiotic association with the rhizobium. Rhizobium bacteria helps in nitrogen fixation. So the same example we have written this, that is rhizobium. Then along with that, even we find rhodospirillum, and then Azotobacter, and then even Clostridium. Guys, these all examples are very, very important, because on these examples we are going to discuss once again in the second year. In second year concept we are going to discuss once again these all examples. Make sure that you have to remember, very, very important. So some of the bacteria, they plays a vital role in the conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into useful forms within the soil. By making use of this nutrients, plant give more yield. That's called nitrogen fixation. Which bacteria involved means, try to remember, Rhizobium, Rhodospirillum, Azotobacter and Clostridium. And not only this, some bacteria involved in conversion this into ammonia. Suppose, let me take this is B. So first one is nitrogen fixation, and some bacteria involved in conversion of nitrogen into only ammonia, and the process is said to be ammonification. And the process is said to be ammonification. Some bacteria involved in ammonification, that means they convert nitrogen to ammonia. They convert nitrogen to ammonia. They are called ammonifying bacteria. The bacteria which converts nitrogen to ammonia are called ammonifying bacteria. So here you can take example Bacillus. What is the example? Bacillus. Bacillus, rod-shaped bacteria. Some of the Bacillus, if you want I will just write here. So I am writing here Bacillus. So some of the Bacillus bacteria are the examples for they are considered as ammonifying bacteria because they involve in ammonification, that is conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. They are called as what? Ammonifying bacteria. For example, we can take Bacillus. So this all plays an important role in the agriculture. Now apart from this, some of them are called nitrifying bacteria. Still we are in agriculture, means the use of bacteria in agriculture. Some bacteria are referred as nitrifying bacteria. Nitrifying bacteria. These nitrifying bacteria, they converts atmospheric nitrogen either into nitrite or into nitrate. Then they are called as nitrifying bacteria. So let us take some examples like Nitrobacter. Let us take some examples. Nitrobacter, and Nitrosomonas. Nitrobacter and Nitrosomonas. So here nitrifying bacteria which converts atmospheric nitrogen to either nitrite or nitrate. Especially these are called nitrifying bacteria. We can take examples such as Nitrobacter and Nitrosomonas. Right? And apart from this, some of the bacteria they are used as bioinsecticide. They are referred as a bioinsecticide. So here if you look at bioinsecticide, what is that? Using microorganisms. The microorganisms are used so you can write microorganisms like can take bacteria, fungi, right? And some of them used to kill, which are used to kill insects, So what is the meaning of bioinsecticides? Bio means living organisms, means without spraying pesticides, insecticides, they are nothing but chemicals. Insecticide, pesticides, they are nothing but chemicals. No doubt they kill the pest which is causing infection to the yield and the plant, but later the chemical will accumulate on the plant. When we take the food, along with the food, the pesticide chemical will enter, and that will not get digested properly. It remains as free radical in the intestine, and that is responsible for causing cancer and other type of diseases nowadays, and mainly responsible for decreasing the human lifespan. So in place of using some chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides and fungicides, so here these bioinsecticides they are nothing but the microorganisms like bacteria and fungi used to kill insects. Okay, so the microorganisms like not only bacteria, some of the fungi are also used to kill insects. Then they are called as what? Bioinsecticides. How these bacteria, invisible bacteria, how these invisible fungi will kill insects. This is a major part we will study in second year in one of the major chapter. At that time we will understand that using these invisible microorganisms, yes, it is possible to kill and destroy the insects which are causing damage to the plants. They are called bioinsecticides. You can take example for bioinsecticide. I am writing here bioinsecticide example. Trichoderma. You can take example Trichoderma, and also you can take some of the species of Bacillus. Bacillus thuringiensis. Bacillus thuringiensis. This is simply we call it as BT. Simply we call this as BT. So what are the two important examples which are used to kill the insects? One is Trichoderma, other one is Bacillus thuringiensis. Remember, we call Bacillus thuringiensis in short form as BT, and that we are going to study very clearly in the second year. Right? Now, so here when we can complete this here. Now this is agriculture. Now let us go with industry. Let us study now how bacteria are useful in industry. So far this all will come under agriculture. Now let us study economic importance of bacteria in industry. So here production of antibiotics is very important. Different antibiotics extracted from the genus Streptomyces, but all they belong to the category called Actinomycetes. So we have to discuss the category Actinomycetes. At that time, we discussed most important bacteria is Streptomyces. From this, different antibiotics are being extracted. Different antibiotics are being isolated. Now, apart from the antibiotics, even bacteria are most commonly used in different fields. So here, if you take, even use take mining, biomining, right, and also use take. That is what genetic engineering itself we call it as. Genetic engineering itself is nothing but we call it as a biotechnology. Genetic engineering itself is referred as a biotechnology. So when we take biomining, so here some of the bacteria are used for identification of minerals. Some of the microorganisms are used for identification of minerals. So here the minerals which are present in some of the areas, like the forest may have the huge mineral reservoirs like iron, uranium, radioactive materials like uranium, right, radium and all that, like gold, silver and extraction of even diamond and all that. In different places, in the huge forest, in different locations, we find a different type of minerals. Now today, with the help of satellites, we are able to detect sitting at one apart from genetic engineering, even helps in production of antibiotics, helps in production of antibiotics. So most commonly used one like streptomycin, most commonly used antibiotics like streptomycin, chloramphenicol, neomycin, kanamycin, all these antibiotics, streptomycin, chloramphenicol, neomycin, kanamycin, most commonly used antibiotics are most commonly isolated from. Most of them are isolated from the bacteria Streptomyces griseus. Streptomyces is genus name and the species is different. So one of the species we are writing griseus. So here if you look at here, we say streptomycin, what we find here, it's a genus name. This is most commonly present or most of the times, most of the antibiotics till today we are extracting from the bacteria genus Streptomyces. And these antibiotics, they may be extracted from the different species. So they all are extracted from a different species. But with the same genus called Streptomyces. Till today, there are so many antibiotics are being extracted from the same genus Streptomyces, but these different antibiotics are extracted from the different species of the same genus Streptomyces. Like for example, if you take streptomycin is extracted from Streptomyces griseus and chloramphenicol is extracted from Streptomyces ramosus, neomycin is extracted from Streptomyces oryzus, like that different antibiotics they extracted from different species all belong to genus called Streptomyces. Now if you take Streptomyces, now it belongs to the category called Actinomycetes. It belongs to the category called Actinomycetes. It belongs to the called actinomycetes. So here, today with the help of satellite, we are sitting at one corner, NRSA or ISRO at one corner. With the help of satellite technology, we could able to identify sitting in ISRO or sitting in DRDO in Hyderabad. With the help of satellite technology, somewhere in Tamil Nadu or Madhya Pradesh, where we can find mineral reservoirs, we could able to identify today with the help of science and technology. But earlier, the people used to make use of bacteria. So they used to take outer layer of the soil mixed with water, they make soil solution. A droplet of soil solution, if you keep it under a microscope, you can see what type of bacteria exist in that particular land or soil. There are some bacteria which grow in the soil if there is a reservoir of gold. They grow only in the presence of soil containing gold. If that bacteria present, we can come to the conclusion, oh, the land, if you go to the deeper layers, maybe there is an occurrence of gold reservoir. So, maybe there are some bacteria which grow in uranium soils. Like that, earlier people used to make use of some bacteria for identification of minerals that come under biomining, that reduces cost of mining. Reduces cost of mining up to 30%. So with the help of microorganisms, when you can, because they spare lot of amount of money just for identification of minerals in doing survey in different areas, right? So when bacteria are used, with the help of bacteria, we can identify minerals. Not only that, we can reduce the cost of mining up to 30%. So these are nothing but what? Economic importance of bacteria, or we say useful activities of bacteria. Now let us go to the harmful activities of bacteria. So far what we have discussed, everything will come under economic importance. This is all come under about economic important. Now let us study about harmful activities of bacteria. Harmful activities of bacteria. So if you take harmful activities of bacteria, let us take that how they are harmful. Now if you look at some of the bacteria, they are mainly responsible for spoilage of food, Some bacteria are responsible for spoilage of food. So for example, you know, when food kept in wet or wet condition or for long duration of time, when you want to store the food have chance to get contaminated with the bacteria. So best example is the bacteria which causes food contamination is nothing but Clostridium botulinum. Clostridium botulinum. Of course, species name we have to write small letter. So the bacteria which mainly responsible, generally you know people will eat outside and generally we say getting stomach pain and doctor says it's because of food poison, right? So spoilage of food is because of the bacteria. There are so many bacteria. One of the example we are writing here, that's nothing but Clostridium botulinum, right? Now apart from this, a decrease of soil fertility. Decrease of soil fertility. Some of the bacteria, they increase the soil fertility, but some bacteria are responsible for decreasing the soil fertility. For example, Thiobacillus, unusual form of nitrogen. So here, for example, if you take bacteria, Thiobacillus, we can take example, Thiobacillus. Actually, it's a sulfur bacteria. What it will do here? It converts nitrogen to Unusual form. Unusual form means not useful. Unusual form means here the form what it converting, it is not at all useful. So here Ephedrine thiobacillus exists in the soil. Thiobacillus is a sulfur bacteria. Now instead of converting nitrogen into useful form to use the nitrogen, instead of that thiobacillus converts nitrogen into unusual form. Means that cannot be used by plants. So that particular form of nitrogen is not useful to the plants. Thereby there is a decrease in soil fertility. Right. Apart from this, it causes different diseases. So some of the bacteria, they act as pathogen and responsible for causing diseases. Some bacteria act as a pathogen and mainly responsible for causing diseases. So here we can take some examples of plant diseases. Bacteria responsible for causing some of the plant diseases, and bacteria responsible for causing animal diseases, and bacteria responsible for causing even diseases in case of humans. So human diseases. Bacteria causes plant diseases, animal diseases as well as human diseases. Now let us discuss some of the examples for each category here. So here if you look at, for example, if you take plant diseases, there are so many bacterial diseases which you find. So here you can take some examples for plant diseases, animal diseases as well as human diseases. So here if you take plant diseases, let us take some examples of plant diseases. Bacteria is responsible for causing what? Plant diseases. Now you can take some examples of plant diseases like citrus canker. It's caused by, it's the name of the disease. It's caused by the bacteria. I'm writing bacterial name here. Bacterial name here means the disease is caused by which bacteria if you look at. It's caused by Xanthomonas citri. It causes Xanthomonas citri. Citrus canker is name of the disease which appears in citrus plant. It's called citrus canker. And which bacteria causes the disease? Xanthomonas citrus. And bacterial blight of rice. You can write other example. Bacterial blight of rice. Meaning it's a disease most commonly appears in rice. And this is caused by Xanthomonas oryzae. It is caused by Xanthomonas oryzae. Genus name is same but species name is different. So here you have genus name is same but species name is different. Similarly, you can take one more example. You can take some more example for plant diseases. Fire blight of apple and pear. It's caused by Erwinia. So let us take some more examples for plant diseases. Another example is name of the disease is fire blight of apple and pear. Means it appears in apple as well as pear. Like patches you can see, that's called fire blight of apple and pear. It's caused by the bacteria called Erwinia. Citrus canker is caused by Xanthomonas citrus. Bacterial blight of rice. Rice will get affected with the bacterial disease. It's called bacterial blight and caused by same genus Xanthomonas oryzae. Similarly, you can write one more example. These all are important. You have to remember name of the disease and which bacteria is causing. So this is very, very important. Crown gall of apples. It's caused by Agrobacterium. Agrobacterium. Crown gall of apples, it's caused by the bacteria very important, that is Agrobacterium. Just now we discussed most commonly used vector in genetic engineering is Agrobacterium. That is the first point. What is the very important point about Agrobacterium? You have to remember this Agrobacterium, it causes the disease crown gall of apples and apple plant. Then how it is used as a vector? If it is harmful, if you are sending this into another bacteria or other organism, does it not cause disease? Definitely, right? So then how to use this as a vector, that we will study in second year. You try to remember now, this bacteria causes crown gall of apples, and the same Agrobacterium is nothing but most commonly used vector in genetic engineering. Right, so here these are nothing but, you have to remember, this all will come under plant diseases.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.